Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion where the cast of the What Do You Say Anime podcast nominate and vote on shows on each individual's liking. Last time we met, we found out that our winner was Afro Samurai, the 2007 original or movie made by Studio Gonzo and made famous by its unique title, gritty animation, and that motherfucker Samuel L. Jackson. Let's meet the cast for today's episode. First up, he just got his driver's license and still doesn't leave the house. We have the young king himself, Johnny. Johnny, how's it going?
I actually did leave my house today for the first time in like 3 years. So, and since you swore, I can say it too. So, fuck you.
It's not how it works, Johnny. All right, next up, the man who 1v1 COVID and won the human antibody himself. We have Kat. Kat, how's it going?
I am confused as fuck about what you just said, but I'm enjoying Bojangles, so I'm having fun.
It looks good. I'm not going to lie. I'm getting a little hungry. Next, making his triumphant return. Joining us from his recent mission from 142nd and East Tremont, we have Haz. Haz, how's it going?
Have you been watching me, bitch?
Always.
It's good to be here.
We're glad to have you. And our first moderator of the night, he is recently searching for employment due to OnlyFans shutting down. We have Miles. Miles, how's it going?
I got until October. So, and after that, it's just no penetration. So I'm going to have to switch up the content a little bit, but I think we can get there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Miles reinvents his OnlyFans.
Do the Dojin filters.
Yeah, be a cat girl or something. And last, our second moderator of the night, we got Pat.
Yeah, there you go. Hello.
That bit never gets old for me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I like it.
Honestly, I like being described as Pat because then it lets people interpret me the way that they choose to, and I like it. So there we go. Okay, Cat. Thanks, Cat. All right. Speaking of boring, let's talk about Afro Samurai. There we go. You set me up for that one. Easy peasy. Sorry, no, this show's not boring. I'll give it that. All right, let's do our usual first impressions of the shows. We'll do it spoiler free. So this will be, since it was only a 5-episode thing / one whole movie this time around. Let's do like the first episode or first 25-30 minutes of the show. What your first impressions were, whether you liked it, and whether you'd recommend people watch it. So again, keep it spoiler free. Miles, why don't you kick us off as always?
Sure. So, I don't really know what I expected. I thought it was going to be probably just like a dumb action show. What I failed to realize is that not only was it a dumb action show, it was the dumb action show. An entire show whose entire purpose was to be a dumb action show. And it was just like, hey, should we think about logical decisions that our characters could... Nah, what if we made them do really cool stuff just the entire time, and we never worried about it? I had a fucking blast. It was great. The entire time was 100 miles per hour. If I went back and thought about the decisions everyone made when trying to confront Afro Samurai, they would probably all be somewhere between F and C tier decisions. No one's light Yagami in this show. No one's thought at all. They're just maybe we can beat this guy, and then they can't, and it's really cool. I would recommend this show if you're just looking to blast. It goes.
All right, yeah, no, I think that's very fair. Yeah, no, the second you start reflecting is when you start finding some holes in the story. But I do agree for the first time. Just sitting there and just watching, it wasn't too bad. I definitely agree with that. Kat, what about you?
All right, so this is the first time I've ever watched Afro Samurai. I probably should have watched it beforehand. I've been trying to for the past few years, but I never got around to it. So once I actually sat down and watched it, I was like, huh, this is a really, really action-y show. It just felt like a sign-in. But if sign-in didn't have any actual distinguishing features, it was just dude's black, kills people. And I had a ton of fun with it. Same thing with Miles. It's just such a fun show to sit back, watch, and just kind of maybe relax if you can. because you're not gonna have to use your brain power that much. I can tell you that. But I would recommend the show, especially if you're just trying to especially after a hard day and you're just trying to watch a bunch of people die. Maybe think of them as your coworkers. Like, hey, it'd be like that sometimes. So, hey,
Bro?
I'm doing
You good,
perfectly
man?
fine. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I would recommend it. Yeah. So
Okay, wow, 2 recommendations so far. I respect it. All right, Has, what have you got?
Yeah,
And also,
Afro
Has is
Samurai.
back, by the way. Has is back.
Has his back.
Welcome back, buddy. I missed you.
Oh man, I'll always be there in your hearts. And I don't know where else I'll be. But this show, I expected honestly it to age way poorer than it did. Um, but for how old this show is, this is amazing. Like unironically, I could probably sell this as a better sequel for Terminator than Dark Fate. And I love everything about it. I love Samuel L. Jackson. I love the action. And I love, you know, normally I like shows that are fun, but fun in a way that caters to me. But I think like this is like just everyone can have fun with this show. Um, it feels like it takes full advantage of anime, and I love that.
I definitely agree that this show, if it was like if it had a live action adaptation, it would probably be one of the worst shows I think I've ever seen. Like I don't think I could, or I don't think it would be able to be enjoyable in the ways that it is if it was not in the anime style that it is, like you said. So I
What
definitely
if
can
it
agree
was
with
like
that.
John Wick style
Ooh.
of
I
this? I feel like it could be like really good.
depends on the special
There's
effects then, I guess, right? Like that's the big thing.
there's a few scenes that would need some real good special effects to sell it the
Mm.
way it was sold to me in the anime. But that's
Yeah,
all
I
to
don't
say
know how
also
like
that I recommend it.
Gino would translate to
Gino
live
would
act.
just
You
be
know what I
Darth
mean?
Vader.
Well, yeah, but like he would be like the Kanye like first 3 albums mascot.
Oh yeah, just grab
Vader.
a furry. Like it's fine. You'll find somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just find a furry and stab him with a katana several times.
Yeah.
Alright,
Is,
be right
is
back.
that yipping or something? I don't know. I haven't been,
If you think that's what yipping is,
I'm
then
not
I'm sorry,
familiar.
you haven't been on the internet enough. Anyway.
I've avoided a lot of parts of the internet to not know what yipping
Well,
is. So I'm
Miles is
glad
our
I don't.
resident furry. We can just ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miles, what's up with that?
Is
Yeah,
Gino
what is
furry?
yiffing? I think it's like when they bang each other. I really have never figured it out, but it's definitely sexual. That's all I know.
I'm
Good job
about to.
using gender neutral pronouns. I respect it, Miles. All right, we should keep it going, Kat. I don't
Okay.
think we should talk about furries any longer
Okay,
than we have at this point.
perfectly fine.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Johnny, what's your opinion on furries?
Okay, so
Go
in my
ahead.
opinion, they should all. Okay, let's talk about this now. So we don't.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So trying to describe this show is actually kind of hard to me because like I don't know what to make of it, but it's. I think the best way I can describe this is imagine JoJo's Part 3, but all the fights there's like no stand powers, but they just all act like they have stand powers, so they're just all like doing absolutely ridiculous shit with no explanation, but like you just have to accept that it happens, and that's the show. It's the less you think about it, the more enjoyable it is. You just have to accept the absurdity and the fun parts about the show, like how Samuel L. Jackson follows this guy around. Like imagine if you had Samuel L. Jackson just following you every single day, like every time you try to do something. Like
That sounds amazing.
Like, you order
It does.
Starbucks and he just goes like, "Yo, why are you ordering that shit? Like, get this shit. This shit's better." Like, you know. So if
Yeah, get Duncan. Get Duncan.
I don't know what Samuel Jackson likes, but either way. In terms, so if I recommend this, I mean, I feel like it's hard kind of not to recommend this. It's like I don't think that many people are gonna like actively like find the show repulsive, like some of the other shows that we've seen. So yeah, I'd give this a recommend. It's a fun ride, and yeah, that's about it.
I think it's a short ride too, which makes it a lot easier to recommend. If this was a full
Story of my
12
life.
episode series, I don't know if I'd be as eager to recommend it personally. Maybe that's just me though. Pete, what about you?
No, that's like exactly what I was thinking. I watched it in movie form, so it was like an hour and 50 minutes, and it did seem like it was a little long. But like my first impressions, I thought it set it up like I knew exactly like where the story was going. It's about like a samurai getting revenge. I thought that was like very plain and simple. Really enjoyed like the grittiness. It reminded me a lot of like Berserk '97, where it was very heavy, dark tones. The music was really interesting. I was a big fan of that as well. It was done by RZA of Wu Tang, represent Wu Tang, and I have a lot of like nice things about it. I think like there's a lot of like technical things about this show or movie that was really well done, but I had a lot of problems with like the pacing and the story. There's some other things. Would I recommend it? Yes, just because it's like less than 2 hours to complete the whole thing, and if you're a fan of like the action and stuff like that, it has those elements where it's quick. It completes like I know there's like a sequel, but I thought like that was plenty. Like I'm not planning on watching the sequel movie. Yeah, I would recommend it if you're just in the mood for like seeing people get their heads chopped off or something like that.
Fair enough. I and finally for my input at least, I don't know, man. I watched this all in one day, thankfully. Just simple, like Pete said, it's like it is like watching a movie, even if you watch it in the episodic form. It's pretty free flowing as well. Like it doesn't I didn't feel like it dragged on too long. But I feel like if it did, I would have liked it even less. The Again, I don't know, it's just not my it's not what I come to anime to watch. Like this show was a lot of action, a lot of fights, a lot of just guys being badass and being like, oh, look at how tough I am, or look at how just like indomitable or indomitable I am. Thank you, English, for making up that word. Um, and that's just not what I normally come to anime for. I don't come to watch um guys swing swords at each other or just to appreciate the art, whatever. Like that's not the only thing, I guess I should say, I look for in shows most of the time. And that's why I struggled to enjoy this one as much as some other people might have. However, it did have some good fights. It did have some the Afro Samurai was like pretty cool character overall, I think. It was a little one note, but still cool enough to keep me interested. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Would this be as popular if it didn't have, or if it didn't have Samuel L. Jackson's name attached to it? I don't know. Probably not. But I don't know. I also don't think he really added that much to the movie in my eyes. I don't know. I didn't enjoy his performance that much at all.
What
I
about
just
his afro though?
um. Well, was he the? I
He
guess
was
he.
both. He was Ninja Ninja and Afro.
Oh, did he voiced Afro as well?
He was
Correct.
Yep.
Oh, see, I
I
thought
think
he
that just shows
only.
his range. Because
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. Like I love him as an actor. Like when he in his movies, he's great, right? And he's a very funny guy. I didn't enjoy this role that he played, the Ninja Ninja specifically. I didn't enjoy. I was just like, oh, he's being like the character that he is, but like for whatever reason, it didn't feel like it fit into the story for me. I guess I don't know, like because like like I don't know, just think of a movie like Hitman's Bodyguard, right? Like he's in that movie and he's just very himself, or that character he's become famous for. And it's like I enjoyed that movie because he's funny. And that's what it was at its base. That movie was supposed to be a comedy, versus this felt like it was supposed to be more serious. So his comedic character didn't always hit the right notes for me, I guess. But yeah, would I recommend this overall? I would say that if you're looking for just a quick watch or something that you can, something dubbed as well, with a pretty good dub overall, like as much as I just railed that I didn't like the characters, the dubs themselves I think are really good. Because it was, I believe, was it made in the United States or was it partially made in the United States? I believe it was. So
I feel
I
like it
don't know.
was
They
animated in Japan and then like voice acted in here, probably is my guess. Because
prob-
Studio Gonzo did it, and they're a Japanese company.
right. I just remember reading somewhere, I think in my research of the show, that it was done somewhere in the U.S. as well. But either way, yeah. Like I think the dub is pretty good. So if you want to have something that you can throw on in the background, or if you just want to watch a I don't know, a hack and slash samurai thing, then yeah, go for it. I think I can recommend it for that sense. But if you're looking for a really like heart moving story or anything like that, I would look elsewhere. But yeah, all right, let's move on to our spoiler section. So if you haven't watched the show yet, just be warned, going forward, there will be spoilers for the entire show. It's really not that long, so you can just pause us, come back to us later if you would like. But yeah, Kat, you had something to bring up, so why don't we let you kick off the discussion? What was your what was the point that you were going to make before I cut you off there?
Well, so what I was doing was I did want to mention. Well, I had two things to mention. The first thing I wanted to mention was that he also had the Afro Samurai. Another voice actor for him wasn't just Samuel L. Jackson; it was also Phil LaMarr. So both of them were in it, and also I did want to say, Pat, that having Samuel L. Jackson and Phil LaMarr attached, having their name attached to this show, isn't just another like. There's more pulling ports other than that because you also have Wu-Tang Clan doing the music, which
Mhm.
is yeah,
That's fair.
huge. Yeah, like there's a lot more.
Justice was a big person too, right?
Yeah, like they had a lot of like big named actors that also like anime in the show.
Ron Perlman.
Mhm. But another point that I wanted to say was that this show at times, like I feel like I feel like this is another case of like being spoiled from like current anime nowadays because like anime has come a long way since 2007 because this is technically before anime actually got good because 2012 2011
Mhm.
and it's still really really good but like it's also like a very generic formula and if it came out today it would probably be in the lower tier of like the season that it was in my opinion but because it's been uh because it's been put into this like on this pedestal from 2007 having all of these star-studded names connected to it. I think that it became a lot more of a staple of like getting in of Americans getting into anime, and I wanted to ask what you guys' thoughts would be on that.
Because this was on like Adult Swim, right? I believe it was on Adult
Yeah.
Swim when it aired. Like maybe not like right away when it came out, but I remember seeing Afro Samurai on Adult Swim when I was like maybe like 19 or something like that. So I definitely like gave me like parts of like anime culture and like what anime was because that was like at the time my only form of like anime content, I guess, where I was. And the name Afro Samurai definitely like stood out to the point where I would click it. Where if I at the time if I saw like Yu Yu Hakusho on Adult Swim, I would never click it just at that time. So it definitely like introduced me somewhat to like Adult Swim, Toonami, and anime.
Okay. I agree with you. I think I do remember seeing it as well. Like I don't know, never watching it before, but I do definitely remember seeing it on like the list. When what's his name, the Toonami guy would
The
read
alien
down
guy,
like
yeah.
the alien guy would like read down what the list of the shows are on tonight. It'd be like, oh, Naruto, DBZ, and then Afro Samurai takes a swing or something. I don't know. They'd say whatever line. I do remember that being on the Toonami lineup. I agree with you that this would be a good it would definitely be a good show to get some people into anime. I think I that aren't into anime already. Like from the like especially from like a Western perspective. I don't know if it would be great for everyone though, because like I don't know, even before I became the pretentious like rom-com douchey weeb that I am, I
True.
don't
How does you know
know.
yourself?
I call it like I see it. Like I don't know if this would have been like a good first anime for someone like me who has always grown up like reading or pursuing different things than this or like like I'm
If you
glad.
don't like action movies, you're not gonna like
Right,
this,
like I don't
Yeah.
right?
right.
Yeah,
Right, like I don't like action movie or I don't particularly like action movies or anything like
yeah.
that. Like so like I'm glad I read Kenshin or whatever before I read this because like I've always liked samurai, I've always found them very cool, but I'm glad I read again, glad I read and watched Kenshin rather than watch something like this as one of my first anime because it helped me you know,
Yeah.
fall in love with the
But
medium.
I think that's
another
true with anything, though. I don't think there's like a single show out there that's perfect for everyone. You know what I mean? Um,
Another thing that I wanted to mention was that like this show also got a lot of people like in particularly communities that necessarily wouldn't be into anime, like uh for example like the black community and like basically like minorities because like Samuel L. Jackson is a huge actor, a huge black actor in the United States, and a lot of people have like have have been drawn to the name and been drawn to Afro Samurai. And I think that that people have looked at Afro Samurai and have ended up getting into anime through that because like one of my coworkers at GameStop, he he actually got into anime as a whole through Afro Samurai in 2007 and through Toonami. Uh, but Afro Samurai was his first anime that he actually watched all the way through because then he actually realized that this show actually had a story. And like I wanted to ask Kaz how that whole thing. Yeah. Your thoughts. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, especially since you are one of the only other people I believe that has seen the show before this watch club watch, right? You mentioned you'd watched it when you were
Yeah.
younger. Was it
Yeah.
like one of the first anime you ever watched? Was it introduced to you
No.
early or no?
No,
No. Okay.
I've said this before. I grew up on ecchi harem anime from Netflix, like really bad harem ecchi anime that Netflix could only afford when they started streaming. So this was like later on. What I will say though is that like definitely stood the test of time in my opinion in a lot of departments. In terms of animation, I mean obviously in terms of soundtrack, that soundtrack slaps. Even outside of like animes, like it's just good music. I think a lot of what people would dislike about it. So I enjoy action films, right? Like there's this film, The Wrath of Man, that just came out probably like last month or two with Jason Statham. It's really not interesting at all in terms of a story, but like people get shot, and that's cool. Um,
That's a
so and it's
fantastic movie to compare this to.
yeah,
Really, I like that a lot.
so like it's cool, right? Like there are things that are cool. We've found out, right? Like there's a meta to being cool, right? There's smoking, there's guns, right? Those are cool
this gets
things.
both of them in there.
Yeah,
And it's katanas.
this gets both and katanas, right? Um, so like this is super, and I understand a lot of the grievances with it, because recently on Twitter, I saw some comments about shonen in general now, um, and what anime is today in terms of like how people view it is not how it was back then. So when this came out, right, I think a lot of what anime was and like in a lot of people's minds who watched it at the time was hype and like fighting. That's what it felt like, right, especially for people who watched it on Toonami and like Adult Swim, right? Like I remember growing up watching Naruto just to like wrestle in the while it was in the background, right? It just hyped me up with me and my cousins. um and this definitely like fits that, where it's like i I may not have like the deepest connection or like revelation, but holy shit. Like if there was like any more Afro Samurai content in terms of like a video game, like I'd be booting that up, like fighting people. Like I
There
felt
is.
that
Yeah.
energy.
There's
There is?
actually
Yeah.
two of them. The
Well,
second
one.
ended
Yeah.
up the second one ended up getting recalled by the person who made it, the people who made it, because they realized that it was terrible, and they gave everybody who bought it a refund. The first one is apparently really good though.
Cool. So like I know what game I'm totally legally ordering off Amazon. And yeah, but yeah, like I don't know. This was also really big, I think, for like the black community as well, right? Like seeing that representation. Um, it was super cool just off that fact alone, right? Um, and I
It's
think
better.
now it probably would be panned a little. But like we saw what happened when Afro Samurai attempted to be modernized, and that's Yasuke. It's just Yasuke,
I
and
was about to
Yasuke
say.
sucks.
I was about to say if this was released today, I can't imagine that it wouldn't be just called Yasuke 2.0. Like it wouldn't. Like how would it not be the same thing? But obviously, in this case, it's different because it did happen. God, what is it now? 14 years ago,
But there was
before Yasuke even was thought of, or whatever. Right? Like,
and there was
God.
also a difference in like focus, right?
Mhm.
Yasuke 1, it sold itself on something it was not. I don't believe Afro Samurai does that. Afro Samurai is very much just he walks forward and things die, right? Like and whatever is in front of him is gonna die. Um, Whereas like Yasuke tried to fit what I think people modern anime watchers want, where it's like there's this story that has like some deep emotional impact, but it also tried to have all that cool shit. Like that's just wild and like unbelievable. And there was this clash of like tones because the reason it worked in Afro Samurai, in my opinion, is because Afro Samurai, anything could happen to Afro Samurai. I just wanted to see a samurai with an afro, as the name implies. So yeah, I don't know. It's a product of its time. I think it does it really well, and like I think just depending on where you're at in terms of enjoying anime, like when you got in, because if you got in early, I think you can understand the appeal of Afro Samurai a lot. If you get in later, I think there's a different lens that you view anime with. So that's my take on it.
I think okay, so I agree with things people have said. However, I think we're like underselling it a little bit. Like the story isn't, it's not War and Peace or anything. It's just like a revenge story. But
Yeah.
I think it does the cycle of revenge bit like really well. I'm trying to think of something I've seen that does it better. And I don't think I've seen it. I think it does it really like really well because
I mean, like modern times, maybe like Demon Slayer. Like that's kind of like
I
pretty
haven't
similar.
I haven't finished Demon Slayer, so I
Neither
don't
has the
know.
anime community, but like it's kind of like it's like progressing towards that, I guess.
Okay,
Because that's like what I was comparing it to a lot of the times. I know they're different in like some aspects, but it's like samurai esque, the revenge story, and just like trying to compare the two, like what the differences between like
so does
why I like that.
Tanjiro get put in a negative light the way that Afro does?
No, I don't think so at any point. No.
Okay, because that's what I liked about it. Because a lot of times with these like cycle of revenge things, um, the harm that the person has
It's
done
revenging.
in order to like get their revenge is uh sort of swept under the rug a little bit. Not all the time. You got like Count of Monte Cristo if we want to go back to fucking 18 whenever. I don't
I
know,
was gonna
books
say
are old.
way back.
That's an
Yeah.
anime. That's an
Um,
anime.
it's also an anime. I'll
I
never
guess it is
forget
an
that
anime.
Gigguk video talking about how you'll never believe how good this story is, and it's like, yeah, anime based off of one of the best books of all time is good. More at 9. Um, but yeah, like I just really liked the way that like one, he stuck with his revenge because he was like so focused on it that like even when like his mentor is like trying to teach him this lesson, right? He's like, like you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't like dig, da 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 da. He finds out like that his mentor has the number 2 headband. He still decides to fight him. Um, he like that conflict and like forcing his mentor out of hiding leads to the death of like all of his friends and stuff. And like you see like the guilt that he gets there, and then at the end, he's like not able to fight Gino the same way he's fought everyone else because he has like actual guilt over what he did, which is why Ninja goes away. Um, and because like that's sort of like he was like representative, even though he was like a comedic character, which is something the show doesn't do perfectly. But like he's representative of his like resolve and his decision he made in order to like get the revenge, to dedicate his life to his revenge. He doesn't need anyone else. He just needs this voice telling him to go forward or whatever. Um, and so like that goes away. And in the end, he doesn't really get super satisfied by the end result. It's just like I don't know. I think it does a really good job of showing like the bleakness of dedicating your life to this fact and the fact that it creates another person just like you, right? Like at the end of the day, he ends up being very similar to Justice, because he's like Gino's Justice, right? And so at the end, he's there defending the same way Justice was from someone who wants to get him, and I don't know, I just like it was really cool. I thought for the show to paint its like people throw out like morally gray or like anti-hero and like things like that a lot, but at the end of the day, they always try to, they don't want to commit to their person not being morally good all the way through. But the show like committed to that in a way that I thought was very refreshing and that I hadn't really seen before. So, again, it's not like it is a simple plot. Man wants to avenge his father and avenges his father. That's the entire plot. I'm not trying to say it's like, the best plot ever or something, but I thought that for as simple of a plot as it was, that it was the last 2 episodes were like really executed like very well to that aspect. Maybe like the 3rd episode or something probably wasn't really necessary from a plot aspect, but we did get to see him fight a robot, and that was really cool. So
and have sex.
That was episode 2, I think.
I watched it in movie form, so I guess I don't.
Okay.
Unless he counts the robot nutting as having sex.
Yeah, that's more masturbatory. So actually, okay, this is the thing I want to talk about.
Didn't have someone help him.
We can teach Johnny the birds and the bees right now.
That is true.
If anybody has, I don't know if anyone has a comment on my psycho revenge thing. If not, I do want to talk about the sex scene.
I just think it didn't. Go ahead, Johnny.
Wait. Fuck, were we talking about the sex scene or talking the robot?
No,
Cycle of
revenge.
revenge.
The cycle of revenge bit.
Okay, so about how having sex has to do with revenge. That's not what I'm doing now. So you were making a point about revenge stories. Yeah, I think that is an interesting thing to look at because you were talking about it hasn't been done before. I think it's done in Vinland Saga really well as well. It's like
I haven't seen it, yeah.
Not to go into spoilers too much, but it's very similar in that aspect where it's it shows that in trying to get revenge, you just miss so much and you're just so focused on one thing. You forget about everything else around you. And
that's a very good comparison.
Ruining the lives of everyone around you because
it definitely happens sometimes. It's just a lot of the times the people realize that before they do the thing, right? Like in fucking Shield Hero. You know what show fucking sucks? Shield Hero. So
really?
Reftalia has the chance
like Shield Hero
to murder the evil, stupid slaver guy who has 90 children in his basement, and then our fucking edgelord of a protagonist picks this one moment to not be an edgelord and is like, Reftalia, if you kill this man who's definitely closer to Hitler than he is to an innocent person, you'll be just like him. She's like, that's right, I can't do it. I need to end the cycle of revenge here. And then he falls out of a fucking window and gets eaten by a T-Rex or something.
Right. Yeah.
But it wasn't on her hands because we wouldn't want to taint the hands of our cute little raccoon waifu, would we? So
no, you're right. So
yeah, teach these devils, Miles. Teach these devils.
With Afro Samurai.
What it has to do with Afro Samurai is that Afro did the thing. He killed the equivalent of the slaver. He did he put the blood on his own hands and lived with the consequences of that. And that is what I think is not common. It's not that Cycle of Revenge isn't probably the second most common story arc of all time behind Love Triangle. It's that they have a way of doing it, especially in anime, where the value of friendship is so important in anime, right? So people learn their lesson before it's too late to learn your lesson, and Afro didn't learn his lesson until it was too late to learn his lesson, and I liked that. I thought that was just an interesting character dynamic.
I was just gonna say that because when you posed the question what else, what other revenge stories have you done? The first one that immediately came to mind, just because these are all samurai related things, it's Kenshin is more about redemption than it is revenge. There's a little bit of revenge, but it's more redemption based. But another samurai thing that popped right into my mind is my my personal game of the year 2020, Ghost of Tsushima that one is definitely, I mean, it's again, it's a little bit of redemption overall, but no, it's about a samurai claiming back his island, killing the man who killed his family or killed thousands of his countrymen and the people he's supposed to protect. Like, that story of revenge was, in my opinion, like, extremely well done. And so maybe that's why I didn't enjoy the show as much either, because while I was sitting there, I was comparing him to Jin, the main character from Ghost of Tsushima, and I was just like, oh, revenge. Like, oh, well, like he wants revenge. And then, but I do agree, I did like how they didn't paint it as if it was like some redeeming quality that he had. It was like, no, this is just the person that he is. I can definitely agree with that.
It's, I think it's interesting just how like we all drew like very different comparisons, because I think the thing that was in my head most of the time watching this, outside of Yasuke, of course, and at the end,
Yeah.
was No More Heroes, if anyone's ever played that. The MC Travis touchdown, essentially it's like fighting to get to the top of like this assassin rank thing, and he's only doing it. The difference is he's doing it because he wants to smash, not for revenge. But there is a revenge plot somewhere in there. Um, but I just think like I agree with Miles' point where like at points I didn't feel like what I was watching was like a good person just like being good and like learning a lesson. Um, Especially once they revealed the backstory. I think the only I think I have this the highest rated, but my issues with the show come in one of the ways they deliver the story. I'm not sure if this was different in the episodic version, but in the movie version, the fight with Jin, the first one, um, it happens before we get the backstory, and I feel like that hurt it a little bit because I was really invested in that fight.
Wait, like the whole fight?
Um, I think it's like the first or second time that he gets like pinned down on the rooftop, and then it fades to the flashback.
Okay, so it
Um,
happened in the episodic format as well.
yeah.
It's like
So
interlaced with the fight in the 5 episodes,
yeah,
which I
felt a
kind of
little-
liked.
I thought it interrupted a bit, especially because I just love the fights in this. Um, but also, I guess we also talked about this a little bit before, where it's like there's this really sudden tone shift. I think it's done well, despite how sudden it is, but it did catch me off guard because, like, not but 10 seconds ago, I watched the robot nut nuclear reactor waste into the air, um, or like 10 minutes ago. So it was a bit weird. Overall, though, I agree. The story was really done well, and I think also because of how bleak it is, it's very easy to lose interest in this show. Um, because I don't feel like there's much that's being worked towards, so to say. Like I never felt like, as much as I just love him going forward and killing people, I never felt like there was some giant end game or like changes going. There was this dynamic story where like things are changing inside of him. It's like, nah, bro, like I'm gonna just walk forward and kill people, and then like it'll be fucked up, and I'll,
Yeah, so did you ever fear for his life? Did you ever think that he wasn't going to succeed on his revenge trip? I think that that's another thing that can help or hurt revenge stories, is whether or not you actually, you know, and that's again, this is like a critique that you could throw at so many shows, not just this one, but like an endless amount of shows. But like, did you ever feel like he was threatened? Like, I don't know, I didn't really feel that. But of course, again, I like the fights were cool, but you were just sitting there, back of your mind, you're just sitting there like, oh no, there's no way he loses this.
I thought there
There's
was
no
a
way.
good chance at the end that he would die.
You thought so?
Yeah.
Okay, because I went into that last fight thinking like there's no way, like especially when the guy went back and like started to draw the third, I was just like, yeah, no, he's gonna react to it. He's not gonna die to the third hand. Like
Yeah.
there's just no way.
I thought in
think-
the fight with Gino that he might, like, I thought that there was a chance that he might, as we were just talking about, give up on his fight or something like that. Like, choose to stop as opposed to lose, if that makes sense. Like his
Like, run away.
resolve might waver. just due to, I mean, he fights Gino really differently. It's super passive. He's clearly not focused.
He doesn't want to fight him.
Yeah,
He tries to run around him first.
yeah. So like him, like I don't know. I thought that like in some way he might have decided it wasn't worth it to do it, or that he couldn't do it anymore because he's realized what's happened or anything. And as I've already talked about, that didn't happen. Has, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think Afro Samurai has the aesthetic and sort of tone to where I think it's probably it'd be fair to fear, especially in earlier parts of it, to fear that he would lose, or at the very end. I think they set it up so that he could. I think there are parts, obviously. The part where it's probably the weakest is when he fights the robot and the guy who pulls the rocket out of his fucking backpack.
That's my favorite quote of the movie, though.
I bet it did.
That was funny.
It was like, this motherfucker has a motherfucking RPG in his motherfucking backpack. I'm like, yes,
He pulled out an RPG.
This is the echelon of Samuel L. Jackson voice acting, using motherfucker 3 times in 8 words, and then incorporating an RPG into it. I laughed my ass off.
Because the backpack was way too small for the RPG.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole
it was
sequence is great.
It was like this big.
Yeah, because later in the
like
show,
big.
2 people jump out of it. It's just like, it's like one of those magic bags where you just like pull out an elephant or something. It's like, what?
And I also wanted to talk about something else in this show, and that is how. So I know we touched on like how this show uses anime to its advantage, but I wanted to talk about like how well it does it. So like, first of all, in the beginning, like you have this dude, like when you first start watching it, the first scene that you see is like this old scene where it looks like it's in the middle of like Africa. It looks like it's like really, really dusty, like feudal Japan, something, or like before a lot of technology is made. And then you watch this dude just slaughter at least 50 people. And then you see this dude sitting on top of a tree branch, and he's looking down, and then all of a sudden he pulls out a fucking flip phone, and like I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
That confused me too. I lost all sense of immersion in the what I thought was like a ancient Japanese like setting. It was like, oh no.
Like,
It said
like,
it is like
he's just, like-
post-apocalyptic for me because of like the remnants of technology.
No, so
Yeah, that's fair.
For me, like this motherfucker pulls out a damn flip phone, and I'm like, oh shit, Motorola Razr. And then you had the fucking dude with the magical bag of holding with the RPG and 2 people in it. Just fucking like you can theoretically do that in like live action stuff, but it doesn't have the same effect. Like,
I mean, he's like,
Like,
running
when-
up a mountain. Like,
exactly.
it's like, it's okay. I feel like it's okay to like suspend disbelief of the backpack when you see him like jumping 30 feet and slicing people in half.
Or the guy having 3 arms, or the guy having his neck sliced open and then still be able to talk, or
Yeah, it's
that
like
kind of-
yeah,
It was-
they
It was some post-apocalyptic shit. I honestly thought that too, especially at the end. Like it was like some mutant guy at the top, right? Like that's 3 fucking arms. That's fine. To me, and this is maybe it's just a personal thing. I think that going into it, because of the tone it gives, and like immediately recognizing that this show is like bleak in nature, and I think every time it does something that like you don't expect, it's like a good thing, and it like puts a smile on my face. Like when I saw an RPG, when I saw like a grenade launcher, I was like, that's awesome. When I saw the RPG, I was like, that's awesome. The robot, I was like, that's awesome, right? Because like Miles said, and I think we've been discussing this whole time, like the plot's very simple. Like regardless of how good it is, right? It's very simple. And I can see people easily being distracted because like they already know where this is headed, myself included. So I just think those like extra elements were really necessary and done very well.
Can I
like
talk?
you had the Colt. Oh yeah, go Pete.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no, Miles, I want to talk with you too, but something that's done very well, and I think it was honestly my favorite scene of the entire movie or show was the sex scene. I thought it was absolutely incredible.
So what I noticed about it was that, and like I want to know like how the direction worked and how much input people had and stuff, because like there's a big difference between how the West and Japan do like sexuality, because Japan, like Japanese shows are like always, they're like hypersexual, but like in a very kind of mundane way usually. Like
Or
the
more
shows
like a
that
teasing way, I guess, right?
yeah,
Like,
it's like, oh, the camera angle is on this woman's ass, and she's
look at
it's
her
a
tits,
panty
bro.
shot all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, and it's like how like in Rosario Vampire there managed to be like panty shots when you were like coming in from above, like just an angle that you couldn't even like ever see. You could see the girl's pelvis from there, and like God let it be so that you could see your panties. And in this, like this was like a very, I think in my mind, like Western sex scene, because you had the silhouettes of them banging, and then you cut above it. It was like the sex scene from 300 for fuck's sake.
Also the music. Also the music.
And so like and then he's like boning her so good, and it's like a James Bond sex scene, right? Like she's like actually secretly a spy that's against him, but he and James Bond are both so good at sex that they're like, nah, I'm not going to betray this guy anymore. I'm just here for the D. Like, I thought, like, I don't even know if it was like it was not my favorite scene in the show. I can perfectly see that, because I think the last fight and like interlaced with like the flashbacks and stuff was like my favorite. But again, it was just something that I thought was very unique for the medium that we normally watch.
Yes.
Like I generally don't like sex scenes in anything, because I just generally don't think that they add like a ton, or they're a little bit too much for what they're adding. Like sometimes they're important and you need to know that people bang and they add things, but like, do they have to last 5 minutes? Do I have to be watching this movie when I'm 16 with my dad next to me? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm 29 now. I still remember that. It's not a great feeling. So flashbacks, but I don't know, Pete, you said it was your favorite scene.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, okay. What are we thinking about
Okay,
it?
it is basically like off what you were saying before. Like, okay, I always like remember there's not many sex scenes in anime that I remember, but like, for example, in like normal traditional anime, if there was a sex scene, like when they're just about to like have sex, they'll do like the interlacing the fingers, and that's like the zoom in, and that's how you know that the sex has started. That's like how I always visualize like Japanese anime sex scenes. And then this, it did two things. It incorporated like I felt like the passion and I felt the lust, which is two things like I never feel in watching like traditional anime, unless you're watching like hentai. That can be completely different. But just in terms of like using sex as a storyline, it's usually not like this. And I was just like, yo, like this is just like two people just like, you're hot, I'm hot, you want to do this? And they just did it. And the music was great. I loved like the dark shadows, like how romantic like the moonlighting is. And they're just going at it and having a great time, and you can see like their reactions. I thought it was just like a wonderful scene. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
You sound like you have a lot of experience on this.
Spoiler to the podcast, I have had sex before, so...
No. I'm talking about,
Okay, tear your Weeb card up,
like
Pete.
you know a lot about
Here,
it.
let me rip this note card I have real quick. Whoop! There goes my
Okay.
V card.
Fucking betrayed us. Couldn't-
Sorry guys.
Damn.
Sometimes
Just
girls
use it
like
to your
me,
right
and
hand.
sometimes I like them back. And I'm 30,
Okay.
so I hope I had sex by now.
Do you
You're
play
over.
wizard or mage in World of Warcraft?
I play a elemental shaman. Thank you very much.
How
There's-
does this guy play World of Warcraft and League of
I'm gonna need
Legends
some
at the same
verified
time and
proof
then
that
still gets laid?
you're not a virgin.
Join our Discord. You could probably tell.
Also watches anime. Like he's got the trifecta, and he still gets laid.
The only reason that I
Alright.
don't think Pete has had sex is because I don't understand how he's had the time with all of the anime he watches and all of the WoW he plays.
He's like in the middle of it. It's like, hang on, my guild just called me. I have to go do a raid. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's like,
That's funny you say
Like-
that. That has happened before.
Oh my fucking God.
Sorry, got a raid.
Okay.
Be right back.
Did you
wait,
go
okay.
raid? Did you go
This
raid?
is another quick. You can't just like finish up and the next thing you can't be like, okay, we gotta like finish up here.
Can you
Like,
just, like,
how long
double
are you
nut or
having
something?
sex for, Pete? Is it like a half hour every time?
I mean, you know, kiss and tell, right? So
Afro Samurai, guys.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah,
Better.
let your
Favorite
imagination
scenes.
play out any way you
What's
want
my
it.
moderator,
I don't
my
wanna see-
co-moderator
I
I
do?
don't want to
100%
imagine
Let's
you
go.
having sex at all, Pete.
We are
About
talking.
our favorite scenes in Afro
All
Samurai.
right. Well, my favorite scene is when I have sex. So
Glad
I
to
don't want to
hear.
see that, but I
There is sex
I would-
scene in Twilight. Is
I would-
there?
Yes,
in
because
the
she
in
gets
the
pregnant.
yeah, in the third one or
I would
Breaking
hope
There we
Dawn,
in
go.
whatever.
everyone's.
That's my favorite Twilight scene. Then there you go. Okay.
I would hope
Uh,
in everyone's anime of a life that their favorite scene is the sex scene. But on to favorite scenes from this anime, Afro Samurai. If you couldn't tell already, am a huge fan of the robot fight. Now, if you haven't watched Afro Sam, please do, just for this fight alone. Miles might not have said it already, but if he did, just to say it again, at every point, this show chooses the coolest fucking option. So they're fighting, and like Afro Samurai is deflecting lasers from essentially the Terminator, and then he flies into the sky, and then like has an air battle where he's like doing gymnastics, dodging rockets and shit. And after beating the shit out of this robot's head, amazing soundtrack playing in the background. It's like he beats the shit out of it, and then he like rides it all the way from like I don't know the layers of the earth, but like the stratosphere or some shit back to earth, and uses the self-destruct of the robot to like soften the landing. And it's the most gangster shit I've ever seen in any anime. It's a top 3 fight of all time. Holy shit. Please watch Afro Samurai just for that fight. Or just watch that fight. It's called Afro Samurai versus Afro Droid. That's all. I just had to talk about that.
Yeah, it's
I
Afro.
for me, so my favorite scene in this show, and this is not to say that any of the other shows were bad. I am not saying that. I'm saying that this scene set the precedent for the rest of the show, and it gave me the most enjoyment because that amount of enjoyment was like carried throughout the rest of the show because I binged it, and I just had so much fun with it. Just starting with this scene, and it's going to be annoying for most of you. It's the flip phone scene. Just that little scene. It like I don't understand it, but like just looking at this dude randomly like flip up a flip phone and like having myself just be like, what the fuck is going on here? And just like having that pure joy of confusion inside of my heart just gave me more joy to spread around the rest of the show. And like that joy carried on, but like that was the moment of peak joy, and that was my favorite scene of this show because I was like, I just watched this dude like murder so many fucking people, and then all of a sudden he just takes out a flip phone. He's got muskets and shit. Nah, fuck that. I gotta sell your phone. Like,
This is the positive version of the Monica Magica desk. rant meme.
exactly.
That's what this is. It's like
I'm still
what I
watching
really
that
didn't
show,
like
by
about
the way.
Monica is why were the desks like that? I don't understand. And then it's like, what was it trying to say? And this is like,
No.
he killed people and he had a cell phone? Let's go.
No, Miles. So for the Madoka Magica thing, I was saying that the only interesting thing about the world was the desks. That was
Well, you
the
and
thing.
AK can go hang out. Johnny, did you have a favorite scene?
Johnny had another point to bring up entirely.
Oh, that
okay.
was I was gonna say, but like it's not really a favorite scene. It's kind of like a trope in the show, and it's that the brothers. I thought like the whole idea of a bunch of like monks acting like gangsters was fucking hilarious.
I loved them.
Imagine just like a bunch of monks calling each other like, "Yo, what's up, brother?"
They all had their like Beats by Dre
Yeah, like,
on or
just,
whatever. Like,
just like the motherfucker with the numbers 3 on his headphones just vibing, while everyone else is like getting licked by this girl.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that guy was really. That was a weird scene when it was just
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh
but,
yeah,
like,
hey,
but,
look
like,
at
it's
how
like-
this girl's drooling over this guy. It was like 2 minutes long of him
like as soon as I saw
proclaiming to the Lord, and then just like
As soon
getting
as I
his dick
saw
sucked at
that
the
scene,
same
like I
time.
knew I wasn't supposed to take this show seriously. But like
They pimping, dog.
They pimping. They are pimping.
Yeah.
I
And then
guess.
yeah, and then
go
they
ahead.
like, and then also like, did we? I think did we talk about this or we talked about it before? It's like the fucking battle royale scene, where
I have yeah.
yeah,
Like,
where it's like they hired these 2 assassins instead of like keeping one of them in case like you send one of them out and they die. They're like, no, let's have a battle royale, but they send the Terminator in and then everyone just dies instantly because that's a great way to use our resources.
Yeah.
See that's like my synopsis of the show is like you have this decision point, and like there are like 397 different options that are better than the one they picked, but having everyone fight each other sounds the most badass, so they picked that one. Like
It's like
have the 3 of them team up and fight the Afro Samurai at the same time, so that he has to 3v1 and probably loses. No, absolutely not. What you want to do is have them all kill each other so that the strongest one left is obviously the most worthy to fight him. And then he fights the android, and then as soon as the android's off the thing, the guy's like, fuck it, and just blows the bridge. He could have just blown the bridge when he was walking over the bridge. But we wouldn't have got to see him fight the Afro droid, and that would have been a bummer.
This show is fucking art.
also how did they even make the Afro droid considering like
Who knows?
So
Who cares?
they have a mechanic. He's in like a little eggshell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
like,
have that
That
guy.
guy, by the
arms.
way.
And the Afro was also robot.
It was fucking the corporal.
There was a robot part for the Afro.
like I love that amount of detail where it's like we're making this killer robot, but he's got to look just like him.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's like they don't put a wig on it or anything. They make like a giant metal top frame for the Afro. My God.
Like imagine how stupid that would look in real life. Just like a massive, fucking like plastic cauliflower on top of your head.
It'd be like when the dogs have to wear the neck thing,
Yeah,
except
the
on the
cones
top
or
of their
whatever.
head. Yeah, the cones.
So I just wanted to mention that fight reminded me a lot about like it's just a better version of Naruto versus Mecha Naruto. And I'm sure unless any of you have ever seen Naruto, none of you know what that is. That happened.
There's a Mecha Naruto?
There is a
Yeah,
Mecha
there
Naruto.
was
that
another
fought
Mecha
Naruto.
Okay, I just feel like I've been
But
justified for
Afro
never
Droid-
watching Naruto.
Afro
That was
Droid.
not in the
It's
manga.
not,
It's
was
it's
it?
not canon. It's not canon.
Oh, it's in a
Afro
filler
Droid-
arc? Okay.
It is in Naruto Revolution though, and it's top tier.
Afro Droid is the better version of Mecha Naruto, hands down.
All right.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I do.
By the way, does Mecha Naruto have a mechanical afro?
No,
He has
that's-
the mechanical spikes.
but
Okay,
that-
Well, that's similar.
That's
Same
not
energy.
an afro though. So
no, it's not the same energy
That's
because one
fair
is
enough.
an Afro, one's like just a random dude's hair. Like
I'll say-
But Justice
say
would
this,
have
though.
beat Mecha
He would.
Afro because he stabs his Afro at the end, thinking that he's killed him, but it was just his Afro. I like that too. I don't know why. I think that's a trope. That might be a trope.
I don't want to mention like
They did that twice. That's why.
I just want to mention, is his afro like have a conscience? Because when that happened, he started bleeding.
No, he probably just scraped the top of his head.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or pulled his hair.
Well,
like,
no, I just
That's
like the I just like to think there's like a tiny midget in his hair, like
No.
moving it around constantly for the theatrical purposes.
If-
Okay.
And then when that happens, he just dies.
Like
You know what
Sylvanas
the
and
dumbest
Grover.
Chekhov gun scene in this entire anime, and maybe in the history of Chekhov gun scenes ever? It's like he sleeps with that woman. It means nothing. She was gonna betray him, but then like the comb protects him.
Oh my god, the
was
fucking
like-
tone.
I thought that was like the cheesiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, but I loved it. I was like, oh my
it was
god, of
great.
course this
but
comes
wait, hang on,
back.
hang on. But think about it like this: Ninja put it on his hair, so
Yeah.
he like subconsciously like put it in his hair.
Yeah,
Without,
he was like,
actually thinking about doing it.
Yeah,
which is,
secretly was like
some next level shit.
in his deep depths was like, I should have a memento for this 48-hour relationship I had.
Also,
So-
it somehow just sticks. It somehow just stays on his hair after
So-
all. that,
well,
you know.
That's usually
That's how the Afro combs work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also, we didn't
Afro-Coats.
talk about this, but also in regards to the sex scene, his dick game saved his life, and that's amazing. That's
I
he's
did
got
talk
A1
about
dick.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, we did?
Miles
I'm-
did,
I'm-
yeah.
I'm
It,
sorry.
it like made her flip sides, you know, like
But like,
like-
it legit like
Yeah.
like the scene itself, right? We're like she's doing her thing. I don't know how to describe. Legs wrapped around. She picks the pick, like activates the knife, and then it's like she comes and drops it. And it's like
Yeah.
ah.
So for people who are trying to figure out the dynamic here, the cultists are the Oklahoma City Thunder. His dick is the Warriors, and she's Kevin Durant. So,
Yep. Yup.
That's insane.
Pat's just blank. He's like, basketball? What is that?
That's insane.
it's-
Yeah, that's
KD
that's
go to
clever. That's
He
clever.
go. He gets a pass.
well, yeah. I mean, KD is a snake. She got the snake. It all comes out.
I see what you're saying.
Does Kevin Durant get stabbed by a monk brother?
Yes, that actually happened last season. It was like a huge controversy.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was pretty
yeah,
rough.
it's nuts.
That's
yeah.
why he was. That's why he was out for more than half the season.
The Milwaukee
Yeah.
Monks just like stabbed him. It was weird.
Milwaukee Monks.
Yeah. All right. My favorite scene in the show was when he had a fucking specific straw for sipping lemonade. There you go. That's
Oh yeah.
to bring
No,
this
no, no, wait,
conversation
how did we not
all the way back. To
How
bring
did we
it
not
all the
talk-
way back.
How did we not talk about like this guy just for some reason has like a fetish with lemonade?
Because
Hey, man.
lemonade's
'Cause-
fucking
'cause
good.
the-
Lemonade is banger.
lem-
Yeah, it's like, Pat's like, look, I didn't think I'd have to say anything about positive about this show, but the love for lemonade, that makes sense.
Hey man,
It's justified.
You don't
he-
look
he-
like this without loving lemonade. That's all there is to it. It's pretty sick. I gotta say.
Being basic.
I'm not sure you remember in the flashback, Johnny, but when his parents died, right, and he was out and about and almost dying, the first beverage that we see him have at the new place that's like not like I guess just like water or swamp is lemonade.
Yeah, they
Wait,
call it
from-
swamp water though. I don't know why.
Well, yeah, but it's lemonade. They didn't like the taste.
Yeah,
So
These
he
kids are dumb.
yeah, so that's his thing. It's his like I guess like that's also like foreshadowing like he still has like things in his past that he thinks about and shit. I don't know. He's a fucking goat.
It's the one thing he enjoys in his life apart from smoking.
Foreshadowing that he thinks of his past.
Yeah, I don't he didn't
going
even
all
look,
Showing that he has a piss fetish. There we go.
look
All
at
right.
this point I would have guessed he at the early points he could have been Afro Droid the way he just fucking but at least we knew he was human because he drank lemonade. That's
Yeah,
my
there we
character
go.
Analysis.
Alrighty.
The
All
main
right. So
difference
glad
between
that,
him and Afro
He also
Droid.
has like infinite amount of like matches and cigarettes he pulls out of God knows where.
hey man, you can
They're called
restock those off
pockets.
screen.
I don't
All
think
right.
there's a pocket in a kimono, but okay.
And
He's
you
strapped,
see
man.
it's like inside.
He also has a phone. So or they have phones and RPGs
He
that
just
fold
keeps
into
it between his
boxes.
cheeks.
So-
Unlike the BlizzCon crowd from 2019, he has a phone.
I get that reference.
Oh god. All right, let's move on to our final thoughts because I don't think that best boy and best girl is really relevant. I feel like this show follows primarily one character throughout it, right? So, I don't know. Would you guys want to do a best character? I don't.
I don't think
I'll
we-
do
I
it.
would love to.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we do that as part of our closing thoughts then? So you can throw that out there. Miles, why don't you kick us off? And by the way, give us your score, please.
Sure. So, my best character is going to be Gino, because I'm a big Darth Vader fan, and I'm a big Kanye West fan, and he fuses the two. So I'm a big fan of that. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with the show. I didn't think I was going to. I don't know why I thought it would take itself seriously. It's fucking got Samuel L. Jackson in it, and he did Snakes on a Plane. Like, it's just bonkers from start to end. And like, there's like a nice little message in there as well. You know, some little bonus points, little cherry on top. I think the end is cool because I never thought a scene of like a teddy bear strapped in headbands with 2 katanas would be cool, but it was. I don't know. I give the show an 8 out of 10. I think it's a lot of fun.
Oh my god.
I like very much enjoyed it from start to finish. I think it's perfect for what it is. And Pat is doing that. He's annoyed that I gave this a higher score than Violet Evergarden. I am positive. And I will say this, and I will only say this once. The show is more substantive than Violet Evergarden is. Sure, the animation isn't as good, but whatever. I don't care. The music actually is somehow worse because this is really good music, but Violet Evergarden's music is like top 10. But at the end of the day, I empathized with this character. I empathized with Afrobot, and I never empathized with Violet because I hate her. I hate her, and I'm sad she never had to suffer.
It's crazy. This is Miles' last episode.
Do you just do this like every single episode just for the?
No, we do. Well, no, Miles just doesn't sympathize with child soldiers. That's how it is. I know. It's
Miles
okay.
hates kids. We've talked
I mean, he likes Higurashi. It makes sense. Like he loves seeing children in pain.
He likes watching children die. So like, you know.
All right.
Violet never dies.
Or does
she almost dies like multiple times.
You'll have to find out in the last movie. All right. Kat, what have you got?
So, first, before I get into my final thoughts, almost is a big word in that statement you just made, Johnny. She does not die. Anyway, so...
Who? What?
Violet.
We're talking about Violet.
Yeah, we're aware.
She does
almost die, though. What? Okay, anyway.
She also does... All right, never mind.
She does not die.
I said she almost dies.
Technically.
Yes.
All right, we can talk about this after. This is irrelevant. We can talk
Final
about this after.
thoughts.
Final thoughts,
Anyway,
yes.
moving on to the final thoughts. So this show was really, really fun. I really liked the fact that that there was so many things that I could like. There were so many things going on inside of the show that I really liked that I really liked about the show. God, I've lost my train of thought there. But anyway, so I like how the shows were just really fun. It's just a really fun time, and honestly, like having this thing that we do every 2 weeks, where we have to watch a show, sometimes can take the fun out of things. Can take the fun out of the show that we're watching. And the thing that I really liked about this show was that the fun really wasn't taken out of the show. Like, it was actually fun to watch. It was fun to participate in. It was fun to talk about. Like every part about this show from the beginning of actually watching it to this discussion has been really, really fun. And I believe that because of that, the show is better than some good shows that we've had, because some of the good shows that we've had have had less than great conversations about. And like, this show was one of the few shows where we could have a really fun conversation without the show being terrible, save for Pat's wrong opinion.
I like that. That phrasing. Go ahead.
It's not me.
But honestly, I really did like this show, and I did give it an 8 also. So this was actually really fun for me, like I said. And honestly, is there any other person that you can give the best character to other than Afro Samurai?
Probably not, because
Miles
there's
proved yes.
Well, yeah, but the other person literally just said another character.
I mean, I don't know. Either way. Has, what have you got?
Did you score it?
He did.
8
I
out
gave
of
it
10.
an 8.
8 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't tell by how much I smiled and like orgasmed over that like robot fight and like just everything about this. Like the sound, I didn't really orgasm. It was like the soundtrack slaps like crazy. Like really, really like if you should go like if you're not gonna watch the anime, you might as well listen to the soundtrack. Um, the animation is still really good, even in 2021, which is crazy considering how old this anime is. It's this anime just had so much fun, and like I usually come back to like the worst shows ever, like my least favorite shows. I have a really
Yeah,
bad rap at doing
you
that.
do. You do.
Uh, um, but this one, like, I was genuinely like, I was smiling the entire time, man, and I think it's important. I was talking to Pete about this. We're like, there are shows that are like 10 out of 10 that I would never watch again. The example I gave was like Violet Evergarden. I wouldn't go back and rewatch Orogairu. There are shows just I don't want to watch again because like they were good, but they were one-time experiences. I feel like Afro Samurai is just like it's a really fucking good, like, fun, like, people die. You like action movies, you fucking gonna love Afro Samurai, and it's easy to consume. If it was like easier if I find an easier way to access, it'll probably be something like I regularly watch, like just to fill up time in my day. Um, I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 because I think every problem I've had with the show, and every time I've been critical of the show, it's while viewing it from a lens that I myself did not feel the show asked me to view it from. I feel like what the show asked of me, um, to view it from, like how I came into the show, it delivered on that. And things regarding whether or not the story is like complex, like I didn't feel like I needed to, like I was like when I stepped in, like this is what I'm going in for, you know what I mean? So, and I don't think it advertises like that. So I wasn't disappointed. I think it did a really good job at giving what it was supposed to at the highest quality it could with the most fun it could.
I
So
think
yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, it doesn't ever allow itself as like this deep, like emotional saga. It is what it is. It's Afro Samurai. I think that's a very good point. That helps justify some of the scores and the things that we've been saying about it. Johnny, what have you got?
Yeah, all right. So, I don't have a favorite character. I just want to point that out. But so, so I agree with what everyone else says so far. Like, it's just a fun show. You can just pick it up, watch it whenever you want. Doesn't matter really what kind of mood you're in. I guess if you're in a depressed mood, then it doesn't matter. If no matter what mood you're in, you can just watch this and have a good time. It's just that like a lot. There are some things that I have issues with. I think the tone shift was very sudden. It's like first 3 episodes just stupid fun. The last two is like, oh shit, there's actually a story that we have to focus on. And then this is probably gonna be kind of unpopular, but I didn't like I really liked the Gino fight, but I didn't really like the last fight with Justice. I felt like it was
I
too
agree.
short. There was like I think that's probably my biggest issue. I felt like it was too short. There wasn't really too much build up to it either. There was it's like and also like I didn't exactly like how it ended either, with like how much build up about like, oh, like I killed all these other people with headbands that we didn't know about. Oh no, and then he stabs him and then he just comes back because he stabs him in the afro and then kills him. Yeah, it's just there's like a lot of stuff like that, and it's like I can't really give this show like too much credit because of that. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna give it a 7. It's a fun show. I would definitely recommend it, but it's not something that like I don't think like I'm gonna go back to it. Maybe I'll like watch like a few clips on YouTube if I'm bored and there's nothing else to do. But yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I agree. The last fights or very specifically, the last fight felt very quick. I was just like, oh, it's done, and like I don't know, like what was all this build up for, and then it's like, oh, it's done. There you go. Pete, what have you got?
Similar to Johnny, my two biggest problems were I thought the pacing was really off in some points. The movie was like an hour and 50 minutes long. I feel like it could have been like 30 minutes less, and you probably wouldn't have missed much. I don't think we need like the childhood backstory as much as we did. I just didn't really like add a whole lot to it. And the final fight with Justice, I thought was insanely anticlimactic. it just seemed like, I don't know, I felt like they could have done a lot more with like this big epic final fight with the final boss, and it's just like, nope, gotcha, you're cut in half now. It's just like, all right, I guess. But then like the end scene where you see Gino just like draped out in swag, it was like, okay, this is dope. Like that was so cool. Man, other than that, yeah, it was just like a cool hack and slash style movie. I really enjoyed a lot of the elements in terms of the grittiness, the animation, the music. There's a lot of good scenes. I originally had this at a 6. Now that we talked about it, I think it's a little bit better than that. I'm actually going to raise it to a 7. And my best boy is Afro Samurai, because anybody who has a dick good enough to change the alliance of another person, I think you are like default best boy, or best character. So yeah, Afro Samurai gets the nod from me.
All right. A 7. All right. Yeah, so pretty much everyone else has already said a lot of positive things, and also I agree with most of the criticisms that have been said as well. Again, I do want to highlight, even though I didn't like the music myself, like it's not my style, I thought it fit very well. A lot of the things that they did in this show fit what they were going for, and I think that that's respectable and really well done. However, my enjoyment was not there. Like I did not, and again, it's not for me, and that's okay. Like I'm not upset about it. It's not like it was offensive to watch in any way either. It isn't. Again, maybe I'm just jaded by this beautiful man up here, my boy Kenshin, and the some of the other samurai stories that I've read, and watched. I don't know. But I could not get as into this show as other people did. So for me, I ended up giving this a 6 out of 10, because again, it's not like it's like in on Mal that's defined as fine. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't enjoy it to the extent that other people might have, uh, which definitely hampered the score a lot. But yeah, all right. So we averaged that score out to a 7.5 for Afro Samurai, which is
That's right around the mouth score. A little bit higher, but right around.
I was just say that's a little higher than I thought we would get to as well. To be honest.
Well, me too. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, but it was like, I don't know. Like, I will say, Pat, like, unironically, the reason, like, what Violet was trying to do, it's like Cap, if it had executed it well, to me, is a 10. And this show hit its cap for what it was trying to do, and that's an 8. You know?
I guess.
So,
I think that its cap was a 7, but again, that's because of me
Yeah.
being not into what it was going for. So that's fair. And yeah, I know we jest about Violet a lot, but I still disagree with a lot of your opinions on that show, and that's
well,
okay.
it's just okay. Everyone seems
Ev-
to. So I'm
Yeah.
probably wrong, but I'm entrenched at this point.
Yeah,
So,
no, I know you
I-
are. You're in as deep as Gilbert is and
Okay,
yeah.
okay, we're moving on.
Oh wow, sorry, I didn't realize that was that bad of a joke. Okay.
we're in as deep as Gilbert wants to be.
There's
in Violet.
multiple
Is
meanings
that-
to that, and I'm just not gonna.
I
not
meant
either
for
of
that.
them.
I did mean for that to have multiple meanings, and both of them are correct in some way. So, all right. Let's move on. That wraps up our discussion of Afro Samurai. Miles, what have you got for our next show? You didn't tell me in DMs.
I
was very
didn't.
sad.
Um,
I'm very
So-
curious.
in last place, in very last place,
Just
we
say
have
it.
whatever it was Pete nominated.
Link
Yeah.
click.
Getting
Is-
only one person
My
voting for it.
God.
Kat, shout out to you,
Thank
because
you, Kat.
otherwise this would have been the first show to get 0 points, and I would have loved to make fun of Pete for that.
Well, I
Um,
mean, if you would have told me, I would have changed my
Only
mind.
has
Yeah, I
only
know.
has like an 8.9 on Mal. Like whatever.
That doesn't mean that we're gonna like it.
Doesn't
Look
matter.
at Violet Evergarden.
Everyone
It's my
likes it.
favorite
I gave
anime
it
of
a
all
7.
time. What are you talking about?
Anyways, 86 came in 4th with a respectable 8 points. Death
Damn it.
Parade, earning its second legacy point with 10. Elfen Lead
Oh my god.
came in
Lord.
second with the number of voting points. However, we have these things called legacy points.
Wait.
And
Uh-huh.
with the legacy
Wait.
points, it tied 91 days. And because Elfen Lead has 3 legacy points, but 91 days only has 1 legacy point,
We
we're watching Elfen Lead.
Let's go.
Woo!
Oh,
Took
so
us
we're
a minute.
finally watching the 2 shows you've been nominating for like a year and a half now.
Well, yeah. So we did Now and Then a while ago, and My Heart Was Broken then. Well, I mean, I guess again, I realized it midway through watching the show that my heart would be broken, but still, like I understood that it wasn't as good as someone had hyped it up to me to be. But this one, I actually do expect us to enjoy it. I think that people will like it. I'm very curious.
I mean,
I
I
am
heard there's
excited.
dead kids, so I think Miles will like it.
Yeah, like Miles has no
My-
empathy for kids, right? So and child soldiers and everything. So I don't know. Maybe he won't like it. Who knows? We're gonna have to find out.
I guess that's what it is. I don't know.
Miles told us told us the answer before who won, and he's lied to me so much. When he started to say that it got second, I almost shit myself that we were gonna watch 91 Days.
Because
Hey,
like I only lie to you like when you're actively reading something and I want a spoiler, like a plot twist to be better. So I like actively feed into the red herring. Which
Nice.
I mean, evil of me maybe.
That's
But
very evil. I was gonna say that's not a very nice thing to do, but that's very, very smart to do at the same time.
That's who Miles is, though.
Yeah,
Miles-
I try
Miles
to
gave
pick
me
the option
trauma.
that ends with the most like entropy being released into the universe. So we will be watching Elfenlied. I think at the very least, like this is sort of like one of those old classics. So I expect us to have like a varying opinions on it and it to be a good discussion. You know,
agree.
I don't think we're all going to like Elfenlied. I think it's pretty divisive even at the time. But that's usually our most fun episodes when we have like, you know, some people at like the 5 and some people at the 10 range. You know, that's what we're aiming for here. And Lucy has pink hair, so I bet I'll like it.
Yeah, and it's even older. It's from before, even further before when anime was good. So that'll be fun for us.
Fun fact: this aired 4 days after my birthday.
Oh my god!
Wow.
When is this
Shoddy,
from?
you are young. Oh my
Wow.
god.
Yeah, so I was 4 days old when this came out.
Just
Johnny, you gotta watch out, or Gilbert's gonna come after you. You're still young enough.
I mean, Gilbert,
that totally happens with
I won't
Gilbert.
lie. I won't
Yeah.
lie. That man is okay, we're not gonna talk about that. Let's
He's very attractive. Yes. a very
Johnny's like,
handsome
I'll
man.
do it. You know, and sometimes you gotta switch it.
like $20 is $20.
There you go. There you go.
All right, and Pete with the 30-year-old voice crack. Nice. Kate.
Hey, everybody goes through things at different times. Come on. Why you gotta call me out like that?
I almost just said Cape Cod.
I'm still
and so-
trying, man. Why you gotta do that?
Yeah, Miles, what are you nominating for this? For God, I guess. Well, yeah. So we are watching Elfenlied on the 6th of September. What are you nominating to potentially be the first show you watch as a married man on the 20th of September?
Something goes horribly
Unless something
wrong.
goes horribly wrong in the
Horribly
next
wrong.
2 weeks. Yes.
This is horrible foreshadowing. Like,
Yeah, I
you
know.
are
God,
asking-
we've
you are
doomed it.
asking to die.
See, 1 second. Anime about divorce, like a week.
Oh no!
after-
Do a show about NTR. That'd be great.
White Album
wedding.
2.
Oh
that's-
no,
okay, yeah, no,
Miles nominates Netsuso Trap.
Oh, I think I'll just like re-up some Death Parade. That's been doing pretty okay in the voting, and it seems like something I'd probably enjoy. So
It would be. Well, you'd enjoy it in some ways. You'd hate yourself while watching it in others because it's miserable to watch. But
Okay.
yeah, no, in a good way. In a good way. I love that
my
show.
favorite anime is Devilman Crybaby, so that's just a downer
Slightly
all the way
different.
through.
I guess, yeah, a little different. This one makes you sad versus Devilman. You're just like, wow, that's pathetic. I feel like, right? Or wow, that
It's like-
sucks.
It's like, oh,
Or-
why am I a human? Why was I ever born?
Yeah, that. I guess that's maybe a better way to put it. All right, Kat, what have you got?
So for my nomination, I am going to re-up what should have won this week, but you've been so persistent. Congrats for that.
I've shown up every week except for 2 for the past year and a half of Anime Club almost. So yeah.
You're not more than you, so I mean.
Talk your shit, moderator.
Yeah, talking shit.
Snap.
Ooh, whatever. Cool.
It's a
Wait,
joke,
that,
Kat.
I imagine 91
Sorry,
days
I
will do
had
quite
some
well.
fucking
Kat.
Hey,
terrible
I've been here
development I
for
had to go
every
through,
episode of
motherfucker.
Watch Club,
No one cares about you, P.
so damn, dude.
Okay, that
Poor
was
Pete
dumb.
has had a rough 5 minutes.
I'm
hasn't he?
sorry.
He's had a really rough 5 minutes.
At least
Go
I
ahead,
got
Kat, what-
chicken.
Ooh, I'm
You've
Yeah.
been here for every
Oh, I can
episode.
take now and then here
But-
and there off the legacy point list. The
Yes,
most
you
legacy points now belongs to Devil as a part-timer, and then Chunibyo. So Johnny can start complaining about always
Oh
coming in
hell
second.
yeah! I can't wait to get my experiences ruined. Wait,
Mm.
Chunibyo was actually second. I nominated that many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got 3.
Okay, that's not that bad. I thought it was more than 3. Okay.
Well, yeah.
That's-
Again, the big legacy point leaders were Now and Then Elfin Lead because
Let
again.
Cat do his
So,
nomination.
can I do my nomination? Yes, thank
No.
you.
Sorry, guys.
So, my nomination is once again 91 Days. Hopefully,
Okay.
it'll win.
I
I think
did
it's
vote
got a
for
good
it.
chance.
I do too. All right. 91 Days from Cat. Has your first show coming back in a long time. What is it going to be? I can't wait to hear this. So you already got a shitty smile on your face. Let's see.
So actually, I'm not gonna do Yusan. I was gonna nominate Halo Legends originally, but as we were watching, I forgot that, so I started looking for another one, and I found something I didn't know existed. So recently, I've had a lot of. I blew up about how Fate's not complicated, and it's really annoyed the shit out of me. And there's also a game coming out soon called Melty Blood. It's a fighting game based on a visual novel series that's in the Nasu-verse, which is like Fate verse and ship.
Okay,
They're all
so
connected.
Prisma Ilia? I got you
It's
down
a,
for it?
no. It's
okay.
a reboot.
Damn
But
it.
and I assumed that Tsukihime did not exist in the West, but lo and behold, Lunar Legend Tsukihime is the anime adaptation of the Tsukihime visual novels. So I'm gonna be nominating that, and it's from 2003. So this can only be horrible. But like really fun horrible because
Oh god.
Fate's fucking insane.
So,
I'm not going to do you bad. Let me just nominate something that I think is going to be terrible.
To say this has one. So this is like one of the most popular visual novels ever. This anime has a 6.88.
Wow.
I just don't think I can vote
So-
for this and ruin my experience for
So
whenever
here's-
we get
here's-
an English translation.
So here's what I'll say, right? And I knew you were gonna say this. This is the great part about it. Tsukihime is being rebooted. So this isn't gonna matter whenever Melty Blood drops, which is like a month away.
I do like the
So-
design of the main character.
You do,
How do you-
right?
Yeah.
Earth. How do I sell it?
How do you spell it?
How do you spell it?
T.
Tsukihime. Tsukihime.
That means,
Something
like,
about
love her, right?
Moon Girl, I think.
Moon Girl. Yeah. Apparently, like all the planets have souls and
think.
like they are actual people. It's really cool.
That's why it has a 6.88 on Mel. It's super
Yeah, Tsukihime
cool.
is
Totally.
great. Listen,
It's
you-
a ranked 420 though, so that's nice.
exactly.
Blaze it.
Nice. All right, Johnny, what have you got for your
Alright,
nomination?
so I was thinking hard about this. It's like, do I want to nominate just re-up one of the shows that I've got 17 legacy points for, or do I want to ruin Miles's wedding by just nominating an absolute tragedy of a show? And and since Has decided to bless us with the 420 ranked show, I'm gonna nominate Domestic Girlfriend.
Okay, that's fun, actually.
I will add fire.
Yeah, I'll
to
vote
the-
for.
Have you
I'll
watched
vote
that
for-
show, Johnny, or no?
No, I have not. That's why.
Oh,
How
okay.
dare
Well,
you?
I kind of want to vote for it now because that's actually unironically a fun series. Like
Johnny, what you failed. So I might put on this veneer of oh, I really like Tatami Galaxy. Let me translate that for you. I like garbage. Okay,
Yeah.
Domestic Girlfriend sounds fire.
it is.
But
I watched
Domestic
Girl-
4 seasons of Riverdale, Johnny. I can watch Domestic Girlfriend.
That's the thing,
The thing is, if I nominate one show, how many episodes? Wait, how many legacy points does it have?
Devil's a
Devil's
part-timer.
Part-timer has 4, which was tied for the most with Now and Then Here and There, and then Chunibyo has 3.
Okay, so 4. If I nominated it 4 times and it doesn't win, and then I go and nominate Domestic Girlfriend and that wins, I'm gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna do something. for me.
Nominating
I
good
don't care.
shows?
I don't care. I'm nominating the show. Final answer. There we go.
Hey, Domestic Girlfriend, the manga itself is unironically really good to read. It's actually
It is.
it's objectively a good story. Whether you agree with the decisions people make or not, it's actually well written and like well foreshadowed and stuff. The anime adaptation is like okay. It's kind of just like trying to get you to read the
slaps,
manga.
though. I'm
The
not
OP
gonna
does
lie.
slap. Yep, Minami is a
It's
good.
way too good for that show, but
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
I agree with that.
it's like
But yeah,
sword
all
art.
right, yeah, all
I
right.
agree with that one, Pete.
That's clever. Quick. All right, Johnny, good job. Good job. That's a really good nomination. I like that because that'd be a really fun show to
God
talk
damn
about too.
it.
All right, Pete, what have you got for your
I
nomination?
want to say real quick, my second choice would have been Orimo, but yeah, you can pick your choice.
Okay, well, I'm glad you didn't pick
Yeah,
your
keep
second
telling
choice.
yourself that. Well, I think at this point, I think we already know what won. So, I want to nominate a show. There's a show that's airing right now that I am obsessed with. It's called Kageki Shoujo. It's about a performance school arts for girls that want to get into like theater performances. It's amazing. When I do my review, I'm going to gush about it. But I want to nominate a show that has been compared to it, that has like a different twist to it. I think it has like a little bit of a supernatural twist to it. And it's called
Why is everyone selling this to me today? Continue.
It's called Review Starlight. It's like if
You
magical
Starlight. Yep.
yeah, if
Mhm.
magical girls did theater performances. So
I've heard about that. That's on High Dive. That's like one of High Dive's big selling shows to like
Yes.
subscribe to it.
I just want to thank everyone for nominating, except for Haz, for nominating things I might enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Review Starlight looks great. It's got a sequel movie. I heard really good things about it, so I want to check it out.
I've heard good things too. I've always been like, oh, maybe I'll watch that, and then not even come close to trying to watch it. All right. And then I guess yeah, I don't know, man. I'll just re-up 86 because I still need that final push. It's actually downloaded onto my phone. I did that a few days ago to hurricane prep, just in case I lost power. Um, it's one of the shows that I decided that I was like, all right, if I'm sitting in my dark room, I'm gonna sit down and finally watch it. And then I didn't lose power because the hurricane changed trajectory entirely.
Thank you,
So we're
Hurricane.
chilling. Yeah, thank you, Henri, for leaving me and my family alone for the most part. We lost a tree, but that's okay. It happens. So yeah, 86, that show that after reading about the synopsis, I still don't understand the comparisons to Ender's Game, but I'll
You'll find out episode 1.
I guess so. Yeah. We'll see. But all right, I think that wraps up Watch Club for this week. So go ahead, Pete.
Oh, okay. So sometimes
Yeah.
you do something, sometimes you don't. Okay, so this is one of those. So if you made this far, thank you so much. If you want to support the podcast, the best way to do that is like, comment, subscribe, leave a review wherever platform you're listening on. It helps us beat the algorithm. It helps us get the word out. So if you do that, that'd be great. Thank you very much. If you're interested in talking anime, manga, video games, whatever, join our Discord. Link in the socials below. It's the link tree. You can also vote for shows that you want us to watch in the Anime Club channel, so go ahead and do that. Next week, I will be previewing the next upcoming seasonal, where we have a lot of tasty anime that I cannot wait, that we hopefully will get some Anime of the Year contenders out of. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. Otherwise, if you're here for Watch Club, we will be seeing you in 2 weeks for Elfen Lead, there we go. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.